Hello everyone. Today we'll discuss about cancer. In the last class, we discussed about HIV. You know what is HIV? Now, today we'll discuss about cancer. As you know, cancer is a dreadful disease which kills millions of people all over the world every year. Now, in order to understand what is cancer, we should know a little bit about cell division. In the last year, you have studied about cell division. There are two types of cell division. One is mitosis and the other one is meiosis. Mitosis takes place in somatic cells and it is an equational division, whereas meiosis takes place during the time of gamete formation. And in a mitosis, a cell divides into two equal cells or equal sized daughter cells. A parent cell gives rise to two daughter cells. Now each of these daughter cells then starts growing. As they grow, they come in close contact. The moment they come in close contact, they send certain inhibitory signals which gives the message for the cells to stop growing. This is a property of a normal cell. A normal cell stops growth when they come in contact with each other or when they come in close contact. This property of normal cells to stop growth when they come in close contact is called as contact inhibition. That is one important property of a normal cell during the time of division. The same way, a normal cell undergoes controlled division or division in a controlled manner, whereas some other cells like cancer cells divide in an uncontrolled manner. So two important property of normal cells, one is they show the property of contact inhibition, another one is they show controlled division. Another property of a normal cell is the normal cells are almost uniform in size. They have a nucleus and the larger part of the cell will be occupied by the cytoplasm. Now let's see what happens in cancer. How does a cell divide during cancer? So cancer can be defined as an uncontrolled growth or proliferation of cells without differentiation. Cancer can be defined as an uncontrolled growth or proliferation of cells without differentiation. Now, as I've told you, cancer cells. Now let's discuss about the properties of cancer cells. The first property, cancer cells, unlike normal cells, undergo uncontrolled division. They divide in an uncontrolled manner. They do not follow the rules of division. And not only that, they do not show the rules, they do not follow the rules of growth also. So cancer cells keep on growing. Even if they come in contact with each other, they do not stop their growth, they just keep on growing. So this is one of the important property of a cancer cell. They show uncontrolled division and growth. Another important property of cancer cell is they lose the property of contact inhibition. As I've told you, contact inhibition is the property of a normal cell by which the cells stop its growth when they come in contact with each other. But in the case of a cancer cell, they lose this property of contact inhibition and hence they keep on growing, resulting in the formation of a mass of cells, a group of cells. And this group of cells form a tumor. And the cells which are formed as a result of this abnormal division or uncontrolled division is called as neoplastic cell. The cell which divides and uncontrollably and form a mass of cells called as tumor, and the cells are called as neoplastic cells. The fourth important property of a cancer cell is they spread from one part of the body to the other. They invade and proliferate the surrounding tissues. They invade the surrounding tissues, means they move from one part to the other. They invade those cells or the tissues, and there also they start dividing, resulting in the formation of tumors there also. So cancerous cells, they show the property of metastasis. So what is metastasis? It is nothing but the property by which the cancer cells spread from one part of the body to other. Then the cancer cells do not have a particular shape or a size. They vary in their size and shapes. And another important characteristic feature of a cancer cell is inside a cancer cell, the nucleus will be large and the cytoplasm will be relatively small. Whereas in the case of a normal cell, the nucleus will be small and the cytoplasm occupies a major part of the portion of the cell. So these are some of the properties of cancer cells. Of these, the most important property is they show uncontrolled division and they spread from one part of the body to the other, which is called as metastasis. Hope you understood the properties of cancer cells. So the first one, uncontrolled division and growth. Second one, cancer cells lose the property of contact inhibition. What is contact inhibition? It's a property of a normal cell by virtue of which their cells stop growing once they come in contact with each other. Then the third one, they continue to divide, resulting in the formation of a mass of proliferating cells called as tumor. So what is tumor? Mass of proliferating cells. And these cells are called as neoplastic cells. Then the next one is they show metastasis. And the last one, they are of different sizes and shapes. The nucleus will be large and the cytoplasm will be relatively small. So these are the properties of cancer cells. Now let's see the different types of tumor. There are basically two types of tumor. So what is tumor? It's a mass of proliferating cells which is formed as a result of uncontrolled division of cancer cells. Now there are two types of tumor. Here you can see. The first one is benign tumor and the other one is malignant tumor. So benign tumor and malignant tumor. Benign tumor is not dangerous. It's not non-cancerous, whereas a malignant tumor is dangerous and cancerous. Now benign tumor remains in their site of origin. They remain confined to their origin of location. Means where they are formed, they will remain there only. They will not move from there. They remain there as a small lump or a small outgrowth. So here you can see this is a portion of a hand. You can see a small tumor over here. So this tumor remains there only. Some of you must be having this kind of tumors in your body. It will not be painful and it does not move from one part of the body to the other, and it is not dangerous also. Whereas this type of tumors, they are the malignant tumors which are cancerous and they move from one part of the body to the other part. Now let's discuss about the differences between a benign tumor and a malignant tumor. As I've told you, here you can see this is a benign tumor, and here you can see the cells undergo abnormal division. They divide, but they remain confined to one particular location. They come out and they will be covered by a connective tissue capsule. So the cells which are formed as a result of this uncontrolled division remain there itself. They do not move from there. They remain in that particular location. Whereas here you can see the cells are of different sizes and shapes. They have irregular boundaries and then they move from one part of the body to the other. So that is the difference between a benign tumor and a malignant tumor. Now let's study in detail about the differences between a benign tumor and a malignant tumor. Very important from your examination point of view. Now this will be asked every now and then. Repeatedly this question has been asked. Now the first one, that is benign tumor. Just notice the spelling of benign. You may feel that it is begin. It is not begin, it is benign. B-E-N-I-G-N, benign. Benign tumor. And this is malignant tumor. Now benign tumor, the first point, as I've told you, these tumors, they remain confined to their original location. means where they are affected. It remain in that affected organ. For example, if it is formed in the skin, it will be formed there only. If it is formed on the hand, it will be formed on the hand only. It will not move from there to other part. Whereas a malignant tumor, it spreads from one part of the body to the other. So that is one of the major difference between a benign tumor and a malignant tumor. Now the second point of difference is, here in the case of a benign tumor, the rate of growth is slow. The cells divide in an uncontrolled manner. That is why they result in the formation of a mass of cells. But these cells, the growth of these cells will not be fast. It will be very slow. Whereas in the case of a malignant tumor, the rate of growth will be rapid. They grow rapidly, resulting in the formation of number of cells, and these cells, they move from their site of origin. Third point, it causes little damage. That is, benign tumors cause little damage to the body. It does not destroy or damage the other surrounding tissues. Whereas this one, malignant tumor, they cause extensive damage to the body. They cause certain diseases which may later lead to the death of the person. Then the fourth point of difference. In the case of benign tumors, the cells do not invade the surrounding tissues. Invade means they do not enter inside, gain entry into the surrounding tissues and damage the tissues there. The one of the property of this cancerous cells or the malignant tumor cells is that they keep on dividing. Not only that, they divide and they move from their site of origin, and then wherever they reach, there also they keep on dividing and damaging the surrounding tissues. So in the case of benign tumor, they do not invade the surrounding tissues. They remain in that site of origin. Whereas malignant tumors, they invade the surrounding tissues. Invade the surrounding tissues means they gain entry inside the surrounding cells. They damage those cells also. Not only that, there will be a competition between the cancerous cells and the normal cells for nutrition, and in that process what happens is the cancer cells starve the normal cells. The normal cells do not get enough nutrition it requires for its growth, and the cancerous cells they compete with the normal cells and they starve the normal cells for nutrients, and as a result of that there will be extensive damage to the surrounding tissues. Coming to the next point, these cells, that is a benign tumors, do not show metastasis. As I've told you, what is metastasis? Metastasis is the spread of cells from one part of the body to the other cancerous cells. Whereas in the case of malignant tumor, you will find the cells show metastasis. They move from one part of the body to the other. Then benign tumors are non-cancerous, whereas malignant tumors are cancerous. So these are the differences between benign tumors and malignant tumors. Very important from examination point of view. So the first one, benign tumors remain confined to their original location, whereas malignant tumors, they spread from one part of the body to the other. Second point, rate of growth is slow here. Here the rate of growth is very fast. And here it causes limited damage. Here it causes extensive damage. Here the cells do not invade the surrounding tissues, whereas here the cells invade the surrounding tissues and starve the surrounding tissues for nutrients. Then there is no metastasis in the case of benign tumor, whereas there is metastasis in the case of malignant tumor. Then benign tumors are non-cancerous, non-dangerous, whereas malignant tumors are cancerous and highly dangerous, which may lead to the death of the person. So that's all about benign tumors and malignant tumors. Hope you understood this. Right. Now let's study about the causes of cancer. What causes cancer? There are certain agents which cause cancer. The agents which cause cancer are called as carcinogens. What are they called as? Carcinogens. Carcinogens are of three main types. The first one, physical carcinogens. Physical carcinogens are mainly the radiations. There are two types of radiations. You must have heard about radiations. There are two types of radiations. One is called as the ionizing radiation and the other one is called as non-ionizing radiations. Ionizing radiations are the X-rays and the gamma rays, and the non-ionizing radiations are UV rays. So how will you remember ionizing radiations? One word, one letter. That is ionizing radiation, alpha rays, gamma rays. Non-ionizing radiation, 2 letters UV. They're non-ionizing, 2 words UV, that is 2 letters. So these physical carcinogens are mainly the X-rays, UV rays and the gamma rays. The second type of carcinogens are the chemical carcinogens, that is chemicals which cause cancer. Some of the chemicals which cause cancer are the chemicals which are found in tobacco, that is mainly nicotine. You must have heard about tobacco. Tobacco is very dangerous. Chewing of tobacco is very dangerous. Smoking cigarettes is dangerous. Why? Because they can cause cancer. How do they cause cancer? Because tobacco contains chemicals, mainly nicotine, which may trigger the cells to divide, resulting in the formation of a cancer. That is why tobacco chewing is considered as injurious to health. Even smoking is injurious to health. You must have seen on the cigarette packets written, smoking is injurious to health. When you go to watch a film, you must have seen how cancer, smoking causes cancer, how that tar-like liquid comes out when they squeeze the lungs. Okay, so this is one of the chemical which causes cancer, that is tobacco. Then other chemicals are asbestos and polyvinyl chloride. The third type of carcinogens are the biological carcinogens. Biological, bio means life. So biological carcinogens are microorganisms, especially the viruses. The viruses which cause cancer are called as oncogenic viruses. As you know, nowadays viruses are becoming very, very dangerous. Okay, so we are all scared of the virus which is right now threatening us, our life. Which is that virus? Coronavirus. The same way, there are certain viruses which cause cancer. They are called as oncogenic viruses. One example of an oncogenic virus is papillomavirus. Papillomavirus causes cervical cancer. So these are some of the agents which cause cancer. Again, very important from examination point of view. This year, that is 2020 March question paper, this question was asked, what are the causes of cancer? Causes of cancer means you have to write this answer. The agents which cause cancer are called as carcinogens. There are 3 types of carcinogens: physical, chemical and biological, with examples. Hope you got it? Understood? Okay. Now we'll move on to another topic, that is oncogenes. Oncology is the study of cancer. Onco means cancer. Oncology is the study of cancer. So from the word, it's very clear what will be the meaning of oncogenes. What will be oncogenes? Oncogenes are the genes. What are genes? Genes are coding segments of DNA. So genes that have the potential to cause cancer, they are called as oncogenes. So what are oncogenes? Genes that have the potential to cause cancer. Genes that have the potential to cause cancer. Potential to cause cancer means that have the ability to cause cancer. What is cancer? Uncontrolled division. So the genes which have the ability to convert the cell to undergo uncontrolled division, such genes are called as oncogenes. Now from where does this oncogene comes? In every human cell, there are certain genes which are called as cellular oncogenes or proto-oncogenes. What are they? Cellular oncogenes or proto-oncogenes. These genes are found in every human cell. It is there in your body, it is there in my body also. Now, these proto-oncogenes, they are normal genes. But there is a problem. These genes can mutate. They can become oncogene due to mutations. What are oncogenes? Oncogenes are the genes that have the potential to cause cancer. And we all have which genes in our body? Cellular oncogenes. Cellular oncogenes are present in our body. And these genes are normal genes, but they have the ability to, or they have the potential to convert or transform into an oncogene anytime due to certain mutations. So that is the difference between an oncogene and a cellular oncogene. Hope you got it. So what are oncogenes? Oncogenes are the genes that have the potential to cause cancer. Whereas proto-oncogenes or cellular oncogenes are the genes, normal genes that could become oncogene due to mutation. Hope you got it. Right? Shall we move on to the next? Right. Now we'll move on to the next. That is, how can we detect and diagnose cancer? Can we detect cancer? Yes, we can. And if we are able to detect cancer in the beginning stage or in the early stages, the cancer can be cured. Okay, so now what are the ways by which or how can we detect cancer? Now, all the cancers which we find may not produce tumors. For example, blood cancer. Blood cancer does not show any tumor, but they show an increased cell count. So each part of the body shows this cancer in different forms. For example, in tissues, they are found as abnormal or uncontrolled divided cells. Okay, so in order to find or detect cancer in tissues, we use two tests basically. One is biopsy and the other one is histopathological studies. Now, what is biopsy? There are two words, biopsy and autopsy. You must have heard autopsy. Autopsy is done in dead tissues, whereas biopsy is done in living tissues. Living tissues, bio means life. So in living tissues, we do biopsy, and in dead tissues, we do autopsy. Now, histology. What is histology? It is a study of tissues. You know that study of tissues is called as histology. So, suppose there is a cancer or there is a tumor in some tissues. In order to detect that, what is done is first a part of that tissue is taken out. It is taken out and then that tissue is cut into small slices. And then these slices are kept under the microscope. Before keeping under the microscope, it is stained using certain chemicals in order to see the cell clearly. So, using a stain, the tissue will be stained. Using a dye, the tissue will be stained and it will be examined under the microscope. When it is examined under the microscope, we can find out whether there is any abnormal behavior for the cells, whether the cells are dividing at a faster rate or whether there is any uncontrolled division that can be detected. So this is a test which is done to detect the presence of cancer or abnormal division in the tissues. So that is the first one. In order to find a cancer in tissues, we use these two tests, which are the biopsy and histopathological studies. Hope you got it. Now, suppose if a person suffer from blood cancer is called as leukemia. What happens is there will be increased cell counts in the blood. The cells, that is the WBCs, RBCs, platelets, all these counts, there will be some changes. There will be increased blood counts. Now, in order to find out the increased blood counts and in order to find out whether there is a cancer, we do a test which is blood test or bone marrow test. So by doing this blood test and bone marrow test, we can detect whether the person is suffering from cancer. Not all cancer, some cancers like blood cancer can be detected by testing blood as well as the bone marrow. Now, why bone marrow? Because the cells, blood cells are usually found in the bone marrow. Now, in order to detect the cancer in the internal organs, we normally use radiations. There are three different types of three different methods which are used to find out the cancer in internal organs. They are, the first one, radiography. Radiography is done by using X-rays. By using X-rays, we can find out whether there is a tumor in any internal organ. Now, this gives a two-dimensional image. X-rays give a two-dimensional image. Whereas the second one, that is computed tomography or CT scan, this gives a three-dimensional picture. So, X-rays give you a two-dimensional picture, whereas a CT scan give you a three-dimensional picture wherein you can see the minute details of the cell, or you can know more about the cell and the cell division. The third method is magnetic resonance imaging, also called as MRI. MRI or magnetic resonance imaging. This is the third method by which we can detect cancer in internal organs. In addition to the above said test, what happens is when a person is suffering from cancer, our body has an immune system. We have already studied that in the chapter immunity. In that topic immunity, we have studied. And whenever an antigen enters our body, how does our body respond to that? Our body respond to that by producing antibodies. The same thing happens in the case of a cancer also. So the body recognizes the cancer cells as an antigen and they start producing antibodies. But the antibodies produced by the cell will not be sufficient enough or adequate enough to fight against the cancer cells. That is why we suffer from cancer. But the specific antibodies which are produced against these cancer cells will be present in the body. So by testing, by finding out whether these specific antibodies of cancer is present in the serum, we can detect cancer. So that is by using specific antibodies studies, we can detect cancer. Another method of detecting cancer. Another method is techniques of molecular biology. By detecting certain specific genes present in the body of a patient, we can detect whether that person is suffering from cancer or no. So these are some of the methods by which we can detect and diagnose cancer. So cancer can be detected in the tissues by biopsy and histopathological studies. In the blood, it can be for increased cell counts. We can do a blood test or a bone marrow test. Then for internal organs, we can do radiography or computed tomography or magnet resonance imaging. In addition to these three, we can also detect the presence of cancer by finding out specific antibodies in the blood as well as by using certain techniques of molecular biology. So that is all about cancer detection and diagnosis. This question you can expect for your exam. How can you detect and diagnose cancer? This is the answer that you have to write. Hope you understood that. Now, so we have discussed about what is cancer. We discussed about the types of tumors. We discussed about the causes of cancer. We also discussed about how can we detect and diagnose cancer. Now, what is the last step? Cancer is detected. Now, what is the last step? Treatment, of course. Now, what is the treatment for cancer? Let's say, is there any treatment for cancer? Of course, there is treatment and it can be treated completely if we find or if we detect the cancer at an early stage. Now, some of the steps that we have to follow during the treatment. The first step is surgery or surgically remove the cancerous cells from the affected organ. So, suppose if there is a cancer in the stomach, if it is diagnosed in the early stage, that is in the beginning stage only, immediately that mass of tissue, the tumor which is formed in the stomach, can be surgically removed. After removing, the next step is radiotherapy. After removing the mass of cell, the tumor from the stomach, the next step is the neighboring cells, from where that tumor is removed, is then irradiated. By using radiation, the cells surrounding the tumor is completely burnt so that those cells will not further divide or this radiations will completely destroy the cancer cells. The third step is chemotherapy. From the word, it's very clear. Chemo means chemical. By using certain chemicals in the form of drugs, we give certain chemicals or we inject certain drugs to the cancer patient. These drugs will kill the cancerous cells. But one of the problem by following this therapy is that along with the cancer cells, these chemicals may destroy the normal cells also. As a result of that, it will have certain side effects like hair fall. The patient may suffer from anemia, etc. So that is the side effect of chemotherapy. You must have seen some cancer patients without hair. As they start with the chemotherapy, they lose their hair and their head becomes bald. Now the last one is immunotherapy. Immuno is a word which is related with immunity. By enhancing the immunity of the patient, by boosting the immune system of the patient, we can treat cancer to a certain extent. Now, how is it done? By giving certain chemicals like alpha interferons. Alpha interferons are considered as biological response modifiers. Means These chemicals will activate the immune system of the patient. When the immune system of the patient is activated, what happens is antibodies will be produced. And as a result of that, the immune system, that is antibodies produced by the immune system, can destroy the cancer cells. So this type of treatment is called as immunotherapy. So these are the 4 different types of treatment that is followed for treating cancer. Okay, the first one is surgery, second one is radiotherapy, third one is chemotherapy, and the fourth one is immunotherapy. So you have to remember this immunotherapy, the chemical which is used, that is alpha interferons. And what is the function of an alpha interferon? How does it act? It activates the immune system. It enhances the ability of the immune system to fight against the cancer cells by destroying the cancer cells. So these are the different steps in the treatment of cancer. So that's all about cancer. So as I've already told you, if cancer is detected at an early stage, we can completely treat and cure the patient from cancer and prolong the life of the person. He can lead a normal life. Maybe during the treatment time he has to suffer a lot, but after that he can lead a normal life. You must have heard many people suffering from cancer and then completely cured from that and all that. Especially breast cancer is a cancer which can be completely treated if it is found at the beginning stages before it is spread to the other parts of the body. Okay, hope you all understood this today's class. So thank you.